My guest now has been in show business for more than 30 years and has been making us laugh the entire time. Howie Mandel is beyond a household name, from Deal or No Deal to America's Got Talent. He is a staple on some of television's biggest shows, but he doesn't stop there. Comedy tours, daytime appearances, documentaries, writing books, and a weekly podcast called Howie Mandel Does Stuff with his daughter Jacqueline Schultz all keep him super busy. That being said, Howie always has time to lend his voice to raise awareness about mental health, particularly OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, which he suffers from. He continues to share his struggles and stories with all of us in an attempt to normalize the discussion around it. So as we wrap up Mental Health Awareness Month and get ready for the premiere of AGT on NBC tonight, I could not ask for a better person to be on our show today. Howie, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you are so lucky to have me.
I am. Well, first things first, I want to know all things AGT.
This season 17, is epic. And, I say that every time, and I've been there I'm the longest running judge on the show, and I say it every year. Well, wait till you see this season. But I think there is something in the air, and I think it's because of what had been going on throughout the world. And it just, all this energy was bottled up. So now we have the live audience, people who have been locked away in their prospective homes, countries, wherever they just showed up and exploded on our stage. And we are seeing things bigger, more dangerous, more exciting than we have ever seen before. So what a great respite from all the turmoil that is going on in the world to just sit down with your family and watch AGT tonight.
Simon's a lot more lovable these days, right? Is him being a softie for real?
Simon's not an actor. Simon doesn't put anything on. What you see is what you get. He also doesn't put on helmets or protective gear when he's biking. So
that part.
He is, yes.
Well, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and there was just a tragic event, of course, in the news that some have used to invoke the conversation around mental health again, and people will pay attention for a while, but you fight the fight on this daily, not only because of your own OCD, but because you want, mental health to be spoken about and for it to be okay and not something people should be ashamed of. So you partnered this month with NOCD, right? And their No OCD campaign. So why is this so important?
Mental health, I like to say, more than mental illness, is a stigma. You don't have dental illness, you have dental health. You go and, I wish people would take care of their mental health the way they take care of their dental health. You constantly get checked. And even in, you brought up what just happened. There are always red flags throughout anybody's life that precipitates tragedy, the problem is that we don't take care of it because there's a stigma. And OCD is also a very pervasive problem in our society and obviously in my life. And I partnered with the lovely people at NOCD because I thought that, number one, if somebody has these issues or knows somebody that has these issues, what do? I believe you're doing what you do right now. You talk about it, and maybe NOCD, they'll be flagged. Maybe somebody will hear what I'm talking about and be able to go to this app at least, and then be given help and have access. Because I don't think everybody has access to help for whatever it is that's troubling them. I'm thrilled to be partnering with somebody who kind of understands the issue and has a plan of attack for this issue. And I don't think there's anybody alive that doesn't need a coping skill for something that has to do with their mental health. And I think if we take care of our mental health, we will be taking care of the world. Yeah. I think you'll become more productive, happier, and it'll just be a safer place for each and every one of us.
How do you cope in times like these? It's just one thing after the other these days.
How do I cope? I'm surrounded by incredible loved ones who I can lean on. I'm lucky enough to have great professional help around me in the way of psychiatry and therapy and medication. But, that's not the answer for everybody, and whether the answer is just learning a breathing exercise or, meditating or going someplace. I don't know everybody has a different answer. The more you hear about it, the more you normalize it. And that's why I love partnering with NOCD, because I think the first plan of attack is destigmatizing mental
Yes.
health. Mental health is just as important, if not more important, than your physical health.
How are you doing? I know we had like a little bit of scare. Fans were like, "Is Howie okay?" There something at a coffee shop and you passed out.
I was dehydrated. I have my issues, but I'm fine. I'm hydrated as we speak and moisturized. I just got over COVID. And I'm okay. I'm all vaxxed and boosted, so it wasn't terrible.
Well, I want to talk to you about comedy for a minute. You grew up in the comedy club, studying and watching legends like Richard Pryor while you were finding your own voice and style. And you have said that back then you were able to toe the line. And if you saw someone was offended by something, you would simply handle it with, "I was only kidding." So, just the culture of comedy has changed so much and is under a microscope right now.
As Bill Maher has so eloquently put it, it's under attack. Comedy is under attack, and now physically under attack from what happened to Chris Rock, to Dave Chappelle, to others. It's just crazy to me that this art form, and I've spoken plenty about it, is, an art form that is in place to provoke. And whether that provokes laughter or whether it provokes shock and sometimes, it is a joke because it's wrong. It is a joke because it's too soon. It is a joke because it's mean. The conveyor of the joke knows what they're doing. They're doing something that is taboo, and that's why it's funny, because they happen to have the bravery to mention that's what that poetry, that art is. You mentioned Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor shifted gears in his career from being this clean TV comic to just being the most authentic comic of, I think, of all time. He was the first guy to talk about his reality. He's had drug addictions, he's had relationship problems, and those are all the things he talked to. We need to laugh. If you don't laugh, you cry. It doesn't mean that the comedian's condoning this kind of behavior or this kind of thought. He or she is just joking about it, and that is gone. That art form is gone. It's like telling a painter you can't use the color blue anymore. Blue is offensive. So don't use blue, but paint everything you want.
Will you get back on stage?
I do, but I don't have the same joy for it. I have commitments, and I love getting on, but I also didn't, I loved just dropping in on clubs and just seeing where it goes. That's how I write. That's how Chappelle writes. That's how Richard Pryor wrote. That's how you paint. It's like the canvas is a raw club, a little club. Obviously, I have material after over 40 years that works, and I deliver that. And I love, going into a room and seeing people laugh at the stuff I know they're going to laugh at. It's that painting, that new painting is really scary, because when you draw on what's happening in the news and what's happening in life, and that's all you have to draw on, those are the colors of our words.
I always say it's the hardest job in entertainment. I can't imagine what you guys do.
I don't know that it's the hardest job, but it's not. It's a thankless. Unless you get that laughter, it's pretty thankless. I talk about comedy for me was everything I've always ever punished for, expelled for, gotten in trouble for, or hated for was what I started getting paid for. So I loved it, but I don't have that same love and that I did have because. But I still do it, and I think I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Comedy informs everything I do, or even as a judge on AGT, or even, the lightness that I can kind of bring to NOCD, to mental health and talking about it. So comedy is the seed of everything that I do, everything that I do.